What's the most NSFW thing you have seen in your school? There was a guy banging his girl doggy style by the ravine just outside of our high school. They thought they were being discreet since it was in a forest area, but from where our physics class was situated on the third floor, we had a pretty good view between the trees. Some guy pointed it out, and next thing you know, the whole class, including our teacher, came to the window to see what was going on. When my professor accidentally shared his screen during a Zoom lecture, and it was just a tab open. Best ways to pleasure a woman. Talk about a lesson we'll never forget. In my drama class in high school, we had one change room for costume fitting and such. The men and women would take turns changing in it. One day, I went in to change, since I was the only remaining man not in costume. All the girls in my class then proceeded to come in to change while I was changing, and they just started undressing like I wasn't even there. One of them even pulled their panties down and locked eyes with me. All of them knew I was there already, as they had watched me go in. A couple of them even complimented my boxers. It felt like a great compliment. Clearly, I was not seen as a threat to any of them. Needless to say, I learned a lot about my classmates that day. In university, my professor was sharing the screen of his PC for the lecture. At the start of the lesson, he was talking about the exam dates, and he opened up the Windows Start tab to look at the calendar. He was probably not aware that Windows 11 provides a slideshow of the photos in the PC, and this turned out to show a selfie of him naked in doggy style in front of a mirror. Felt really bad for him because the screen was also being shared for the people following the lesson remotely, and I spent most of the lesson thinking about whether I should have told him about it or not. At the end I didn't, and I think he's still not aware of what he shared to almost 200 students. Guy dropped bottle of highly concentrated sulfuric acid in the middle of the lab. I went to a trade school that also had an aesthetics and cosmetology program. The students were practicing Brazilian waxing, and left the used waxing strips all over the treatment room for the next person to find. The trash can was completely empty. A girl at one of the campus cafeterias with sheer leggings on with no underwear underneath. They were pretty clear when she was standing normally, but when she bent over 20 or so feet in front of me, they were clear. I could read her lips. High school health class taught by a very Christian church-going woman who blushed through the entire unit. We saw a video of an actual birth, but about 60 seconds after the baby exploded out of the mother's body, leaving all the usual wreckage behind, the teacher said, "Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Okay, that's certainly enough," and grabbed the remote to stop the videotape. Yes, this was a while ago. Or, only she didn't press stop before she pressed rewind. She pressed rewind while the video was still playing. We saw a newborn baby go back up into a woman in 2x speed. Every student in our classroom screamed, and every woman slammed their legs together in shock and fear. Probably all still childless too. When in college during a mock maths test, my lecturer was looking up what her spontaneous vaginal discharge could mean for a good 5 minutes before realizing she had left her laptop connected to the projector. I wasn't doing too much crazy in college, but we did play this Budweiser branded spin the bottle game, and one of the things we landed on was that I had to swap clothes with the person to the left of you. The person to my left was the girl my friend was kind of seeing a little bit, and she was wearing scrubs with nothing on underneath. We weren't going to swap underwear, but since she was naked underneath, she was butt-ass naked while we swapped clothes, while I got to be in my boxers. I was a member of the high school marching band for a year. The bus rides back and forth to games on Friday nights were rolling vessels of teen exploration. Gave me a new perspective on band geeks. They may not have been the coolest, but they were getting more action than most of the football team. This couple at my school thought it was a good idea to screw in their car after school. They neglected to realize they have no tint, and their car was parked at the very front of the parking lot. Sophomore year of college, my buddy got a part-time job as security for one of the school's libraries. He got called to make a report in the women's restroom. Someone took their used tampon and wiped it all over one of the women's bathroom walls. I don't think there's enough bleach in this world to ever clean that memory. Very mild. I was at a track meet and a high school girl tried to pull her sweatpants off in one sweeping motion but unintentionally managed to grab everything and pull it down to her knees. I wish I could report that I said something witty or funny, but being a complete nerd, I went white as a sheet and pivoted 180 and walked off, pretending like I hadn't seen a thing. Later, when the news broke, I checked the newspaper and honored the deadline 25 years later, and that unexpected bush is still seared into my mind, instead of useful information like my kids' birth dates. And that's a wrap for today's Reddit stories. If you enjoyed the ride, hit subscribe for more. Comment on your favorite story, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Until then, stay safe.